Welcome to AMAP View. I am Julia. Our mission is to enable your business to succeed in the Americas and Asia Pacific region. Today, we're very happy to be joined by a Persian American who is truly a world citizen. He has successfully conducted businesses among US, China, and Middle East countries regarding investment, trade, consulting, media relations establishment, government lobbying, oil, gas, and energy trading. He's one of the few personalities widely acclaimed both by the Chinese media and also recognized by the Chinese government leadership at large as a true China hand and a leading authority on China. Later on, a senior international tax lawyer from Washington, D.C. will join us in sharing the international tax minimization strategies as well as how to develop relationships with the members of Congress in the U.S. Before we start, let's watch a short video.
Farzam Kamalabadi, a Persian American born in 1961, educated in Boston, resided in Shanghai, China for over 2 decades. He is a well-known figure in the oil and gas and energy sectors in China and the Middle East. In 1993, he established Future Trends International Corporation, which is engaged in investment, trade, consulting, media relations, government lobbying, and so on, and is recognized as the leader in grassroots government, enterprise, and media relations and networking throughout China. He is a master of multiple languages, Chinese along with some dialects such as Cantonese and Shanghainese, English, Farsi, Arabic, Spanish, and French. Mr. Farzam Kamalabadi has been appointed by nearly 20 municipal and regional governments in China as the Senior Economic Advisor and is a famous social activist and the current president and chairman of the Board of Future Trends International.
Welcome, Mr. Farzam Kamalabadi.
Thank you for the invitation.
How are you?
Well, excellent, always.
你好吗？
非常好，谢谢您了。
چطوری؟
فارسی بلدی؟
كيف حالك؟
شكرا جزيلا.
I know you can speak 6 different languages. I admire your intelligence.
Oh, you're good at counting. I don't know how many.
What motivated you to learn 6 different languages?
I think we are in the global age, and the concept of global has gone way ahead of our thinking. The reality of the time is already the world is one country, and the whole humanity is the citizens of one world. But our thinking and our methodologies and our systems are far in the old time. So I want to be a pioneer, the icebreaker. So I learned the languages and I traveled across civilizations, created commerce, also strategies, so that the world faster catches up.
I should learn more.
Thank you.
So I know you were born and lived in Iran for 17 years.
Yes.
Educated and lived in United States for 11 years and resided in China for over 2 decades.
Yes.
So this illustrates that you are a world citizen, not attached to, just one country.
Oh, yes, yes.
How would you like to describe yourself?
First, what you mentioned, I believe 3,000 years before there was no country. 300 years in the future there will be no country. It's the whole one united planet. And I describe myself as the person who travels across horizontal geographic zones, vertical across times, in the ancient times and in the future, far, far future world civilization. So I'm a traverser through systems, yeah.
Okay, you have a sense of humor.
Yeah, thank you.
So in 1993, you founded Future Trends International.
Yes.
What was your vision then?
Yes, Future Trends Group, or called International, is an attempt to have corporate, for-profit, and non-profit, and NGO, and humanitarian and finance all in one system. So it is a system to generate wealth and to distribute wealth for the good of humanity. And therefore, we created a vast global network and system. And we utilize these network system relations know-how to grow companies and create wealth for both internally Future Trends and externally for partner companies. So we have a very new model, a unique model. It's like a platform, like a hologram of system of networks in over 100 countries. And the companies who want to grow, they enter it. And we help them with the government relations and also financial play. So it's a whole rotation to help corporations grow. This is Future Trends.
Great, that sounds exciting.
We are the accelerator for US or European, or for that matter, any country's corporations, by placing them in multiple markets in a short time and in more deep-rooted, well-established.
That's how we call you a world citizen.
Thank you, thank you.
So I know you're also very famous in China, and you have been appointed by nearly 20 municipal and the regional governments in China as a senior economic advisor. And you are also serving as an advisor to a number of national oil systems, such as China, Oman, and Kuwait. I know you have done more than this. Give us some highlights of what you have accomplished.
Thank you, thank you. Again, on the commercial, financial element, which is one dimension, and then on a national strategy is another dimension. And on the commercial, financial, I think the few highlights are actually world historic iconic deals. For example, bringing for the first time ever in world history, the sovereign wealth funds from the Arab states to invest into China. That was Kuwait Investment Authority, Qatar Investment Authority, and the club investments of Almal, Noor Investments, and even Goldman, investing in the ICBC, Industrial Commercial Bank of China, which is very famous. In 2006, I steered that. And then it became a club investments into Agricultural Bank of China, CITIC assets. So this is very important because it broke the records. And at the same time, we did an earlier deal with US. The US Exim Bank loan invested and loaned to China sovereign borrowing by Minister of Finance and then also the Minister of Environment. So it was a US corporation, Dasibi, sell their products and technologies in the air pollution solution. So in 1998 to 2005, we pioneered in advance of China's problems of air to bring the equipment to address. It was sold to 56 Chinese cities. So it's a very complex deal because every city bank had to be involved, every mayor had to sign on it, bundle it to be one package, give it to the minister, Xie Jianhua, who was the minister of the environment. He endorsed on it, take it to my friend minister of finance of China, and then became a national package, then take it to the US Exim Bank loan, and then it became a very, very complex deal. So I'm glad we also accomplished that. So in the finance, we have done this. In the oil and gas, I brought several of the national oil companies from the GCC into China. They were into China, but basically do new projects and grow them. And also China outbound investments. So I was the first pioneer. I'm known as the godfather of China outbound investments.
Wow.
For several reasons. One, I changed national policies so that the amount of investments that independently any city or any company can do without approval of central government moved from $10 million cap to $100 million cap. So it opened basically a wild horse of outbound investments. And then also I did the first cases, which was the city right here in Vernon, California, in Los Angeles, where the city mayor, city attorney, and city administrator, Bruce Malkenhurst, they hired us about 7 years. Every year, 2 or 3 times to China. Did a lot of what we call investment promotions, events, and over time, we took 275 factories of China, focused, settled in Vernon, California. So it's a very, very successful deal that was focused.
That's why I saw an article, the media in Middle Eastern countries says, billionaire in China. What does success mean to you?
Yeah. Well, what you described is the Arabian Business Arabic, which is the equivalent of the Forbes magazine in the Arab world. And they wrote, and also in Finland, they wrote as the billionaire in China. But actually, I am not a billionaire. Yes, I am in relation or in love with billions of people. That's more valuable. I have created a lot of wealth for myself, for my company, but more so for other corporations. So I have a model that they grow, therefore I grow. The corporations that align with me, they give me shares. They give me a budget, and I organize a team. It's called Global Growth Group within the corporation. So I don't act as an outside consultant. I bring all my global network and know-how internalized into the corporation. As the corporation grows, so is my share growing with them. So that's on the corporate level. But my own vision is more than capital, more than money. My interest is the unity of the world of humanity.
You're watching AMAP View with Farzam Kamalabadi, the president and chairman of the board of Future Trends International, and also a famous social activist. We will be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back. Mr. Farzam Kamalabadi, you look perfect on your resume. Can you share with us some of your disappointments that you had when you were building your empire?
Oh, okay. First of all, disappointments are always external, but if you have an internal power, you don't see that as disappointment. Unless if you yourself disappoint yourself. But in reality, the things that are the most challenging that existed in China more and also exist everywhere globally are two things. One is faithfulness and fidelity in business. That means you keep your word and your integrity of your character. And most people now bypass that. They shortcut and they take your relations, they steal your ideas, and this exists everywhere, anywhere from Hollywood to China to Africa to Middle East. So that is a challenge for everyone, and I learned to manage that challenge. That's one. And two is, especially in the Far East and Middle East, the countries that we call them more large population countries, they don't understand the concept of intangible assets. We know that the intangible assets sometimes are multiply more valuable than actually money or cash. It is the intangible assets that produces and directs and guides the capital, and not the reverse. And so sometimes then they don't understand the value of your know-how, your services, your strategy, your mind thinking over their planning, and they don't understand your network globally, how you have toiled and you developed it, and therefore there is a monetary value for it. So they try to take advantage and basically get things for free.
It tells us like you need to be patient, create your intangible value.
You need to be patient to create. You are not selling it. They see the value. So anyone who deals with me, if they don't know you or half know you until they really know you, and if they don't trust you and half trust you until they fully trust you, no. They must be running after you. I don't need to ask them, please give me the share, give me a cash. They should say, I need you so badly. Here is the money, here is your shares, and here's the roadmap that you showed us. And we listen to you, we follow you. It is very important to know in this world, you are either a follower or you are a leader. In fact, even if you are a good follower, it's a good thing. So we should be realistic action. If we don't know, we ask. We need to be more transparent and open in business.
I agree. Somewhere I saw your philosophy like either not do anything or
Go for the kill.
do it with intensity like a killer. Yeah, so where are you right now in your vision?
I always say I have accomplished 1/3 of my mission, my destiny, in 2/3 of my life. So now I have to reverse. Use 1/3 of my life to finish the remaining 2/3. And because the first era is more building a foundation for it. And my vision is not only the business, not only the global practice, but also I have advised the national governments such as China, such as Middle East, such as even Africa, Zimbabwe. I am the person behind the scene, that advised how that movement becomes a peaceful, zero-bullet transition of power from Mugabe to Mnangagwa. I was advising them right in Dubai to Africa when things were happening, as you saw the video, where all the soldiers and army went to the street but no guns. That was my strategy to them. And also to have a truce with your opponent before any war. So basically avoided bloodshed. They were expecting million people become sacrificed. So I'm happy that I have already done things, but the point is that I haven't done enough.
Okay.
And that's always the case.
So you went to China because of the culture and the future, and you are a successful businessman, and you have it circulating among Chinese government, Middle East government, and also U.S. government. So it presents us with three images of you.
Okay.
Culture for them, business for them, political for them. Which image do you think is most closely associated to who you are?
Okay. Actually, I am not involved in politics, even though I work with all the different governments and politicians. I'm an independent person. You can call it a statesman that brings peace. Anything that is divisive and partisan, I don't participate. When it is the vested interest of collective of humanity, I'm fully after it. So I think I am a person you can call who has tried to have highest ideals but practice it, because I believe we have to walk the spiritual world with practical feet. This is a statement by Abdul Baha, the most important figure, the leading example in the Baha'i faith, in the Baha'i world community,
faith,
Baha'i religion, that teaches about the oneness of the world of humanity. So it's encouraged us to be proactive without violence, but with real content. So I've tried to move along that path.
Okay. Great. So where do you see the business opportunities in today's China?
China, don't think of it as like one country. Politically, it's one country. It is like 120 countries. 33 provinces, 50 major cities, 500 mid-sized cities, 2,800 townships, and 30,000 villages. So China is diverse. The market still is huge. China can move things outbound investments, and also accept still new things inside China. So go to China, but not superficial, partial, fragmented, and be dispersed. You have to be deep-rooted. So my motto is always, if you are in China only in one small area and in a very narrow market, then you are not in China. You might as well be in Mexico or in Tajikistan. If you are in China, you must multiply your corporation by 10 times minimum.
That's why you traveled actually over 400 provinces and cities in China.
About 500 cities and 1,000 counties. So I'm the most widely traveled person in the history of China, you can call it. Yeah.
Good. So we actually also collected questions from the audience. Douglas Crawford is a senior and very thorough attorney in personal injury, family and criminal defense law, who has been featured on CNBC, CNN, PBS, Investigation Discovery Channel, and Vanity Fair magazine. His question: is there significant differences between traditional Persian business culture and traditional Chinese business culture?
Iran is in the crossroad. In fact, I call Iran the real central kingdom, because you see east, west, north, south. It is really in the center of the old map of the world. And because of that, it is much more versatile and much more extrovert. So the Persians in business are more extrovert, but the Chinese believe that you must first build inside, then from there build outside.
Okay, that's a very big difference.
Yeah.
Okay, and if there are differences, how have you used those differences to your advantage?
So it's good to be both introvert and extrovert. You need
I
to do
agree.
both.
So were those cultural differences an impediment to your career?
No, the only impediment to me, my first enemy is time. My second enemy is mediocrity. And my third enemy in life is beauty in the eye of the beholder. We need to elevate to the standard of the truth, all unify, and work hard and go, as you said, for the kill, for quality, not mediocrity, and also manage it in the right time.
Yes, we have learned from Mr. Fazam Kamalabadi about thinking globally and international business opportunities. We will take a short break and be right back with our second guest. Doing business overseas can come with its share of challenges, which is why it's important to plan strategically, including minimizing your tax liabilities. We're very pleased to have Rolf Winning Jr. join with us via teleconference. He's an international tax lawyer from Washington, D.C. He's a member of the District of Columbia and the New York Bar Association, and is admitted to practice before the U.S. Supreme Court. He's also the Vice President of the Euro-Asian Business Coalition Business Development and the Director of the Euro-Asia Center's China program. So Rolf, welcome and thank you for joining us.
I'm glad to be with everybody. Looking forward to a very proactive discussion.
Yes, we also have another guest here, Mr. Fazam Kamalabadi, who is a Persian American and has been residing in Shanghai, China for over 20 years. He has done business among U.S., Middle East country, and China very successfully. So, Rolf, what's your advice for those who are doing business overseas, especially between the U.S. and China, regarding the penalization and mitigating the risks of double taxation?
Yeah, well, I think it's first thing I'd like to say is the U.S. has historically been an attractive place to invest, and 2016 was no different, as the U.S. was the top destination for foreign investment of nearly $500 billion. Now, China makes up a great part of this figure, but it doesn't dominate U.S. foreign direct investment. Certainly, political tensions have led to a series of potential Chinese investments in the U.S. that have been blocked due to national security concerns. But the reality, the majority of Chinese firms since 2005 have not raised any concern. Even Lenovo's purchase of IBM's personal computer business in 2004 for $1.75 billion stirred relatively little trouble. And other examples of Chinese acquisitions that were really welcome in the U.S. included Haier's purchase of GE's home appliance unit in 2016, Tencent's acquisition of 12% of Snapchat, or the Chinese sovereign wealth fund funding large investment in Airbnb. What we need to understand is that in the People's Republic of China and the U.S., double taxation is going to be eliminated as follows. A, where a resident of China derives income from the U.S., the amount of the U.S. income tax payable in respect of that income in accordance with the provision of this agreement shall be allowed as a credit against the Chinese tax imposed on that resident. The amount of credit, however, shall not exceed the amount of the Chinese tax computed with respect to that income in accordance with the taxation laws and regulations of China. Number two, where the income derived from the U.S. is a dividend paid by a company which is a resident of the United States to a company which is a resident of China and which owns not less than 10% of the shares of the company paying the dividend, that credit shall take into account the United States income tax payable by the company paying the dividend in respect of the profits out of which the dividends are paid. Third, in the U.S., in accordance with the provision of the laws of the U.S. shall allow to a resident or citizen of the U.S. as a credit against the U.S. tax on income, A, the income tax paid to China by or on behalf of such resident or citizen, and B, in the case of U.S. company owning at least 10% of the voting rights in a company which is a resident of China and from which the U.S. company receives dividends, the income tax paid to China by or on behalf of the distributing company with respect to the profit out of which the dividends are paid. So it's very, very important that when U.S. and Chinese companies are looking to do business in the U.S., you have to understand the importance of the tax treaty between the U.S. and China, and understand that there are provisions for the elimination of double taxation. The U.S. corporate tax rate used to be 35%, but now under Trump it's been reduced to 21%. While China's corporate tax rate has stayed at 25%.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Rolf. You also have extensive experience and expertise in dealing with members of Congress, U.S. agencies, and foreign governments. Can you tell us why it's important for those who wish to do business in the States to develop relationships with the U.S. federal government?
Well, I think it's important to ensure that everyone pays their fair share of tax. And the laws and regulations are designed to ensure that the system is transparent and people know how much they are going to be responsible for when they engage in doing international business. The key has been to ensure free and fair trade and free and fair trade between different countries. You're looking at the U.S. and China. You have the Chinese that are moving more from import-export to more consumption-based model, and the U.S. that's looking to reestablish their manufacturing base and to bring in foreign direct investment that's going to grow the economy. President Trump has been very vocal about providing jobs and economic opportunities for Americans. And the way that he can do that is bringing in companies like China Energy Investment Corporation and the company from Taiwan that's based in Wisconsin called Foxconn, in an effort to grow the U.S. economy by providing jobs in the industrial, the tech, and the manufacturing areas. This is going to mean that there are going to be opportunities to grow and expand businesses through opportunity zones, which allow people to set up companies in different zones, and they'll be able to waive the corporate tax rate for a certain period of time. They'll be allowed to find potential joint venture partners, and they'll be able to work directly with the U.S. government to grow and expand potential technologies that could be life-saving.
Okay, thank you, Rolf, for joining us today.
You're welcome. Look forward to be back on in the near future.
Yes, sure. Thank you. Bye now. Shall we have some fun? I know you have many fascinating sides. Can you share one of your special talents here today for us?
Yeah, so you asked for it and I prepared.
This is the first time in the United States a foreigner is writing Chinese brush calligraphy. Why you choose the Chinese brush calligraphy as your biggest hobby?
The Chinese brush calligraphy for me is also a strategy. I have a theory that's called the invisible Great Wall of China. That means the barrier of the mindset between the non-Chinese entering China and the Chinese emergence into the global community. They don't know each other much, even though they have trade. That's why there's trade wars and misunderstanding. The mindset, which is a barrier, the highest form is in the written language, and the most difficult part of it is in the written calligraphy. That means in the history of 5,000 years of China, where there have been thousands or if not millions of foreigners in China, including from the time of Damo and Limado, all the important Buddhist or Christian missionaries, nobody mastered the calligraphy. They did the painting, they did many other the languages, but calligraphy was, I call it the invisible Great Wall that they did not pass. So I wanted to pierce through it. This is from the book of Tao from Lao Tzu, 2,500 years ago, that describes how unfathomable and unique the ancient mystics were. And of course, that tradition must remain into